fuckface. First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face! Otherwise, I'm gonna have to head down there and I will rain down on a godly fucking firestorm upon you. You're gonna have to call the fucking United Nations and get a fucking binding resolution to keep me from fucking destroying you. I am talking scorched earth, motherfucker! I will massacre you! I will fuck you up!
What is going on, you beautiful people, you fucking degenerates? I fucking love you all. Welcome back to another episode of Real Ass People's Entertainment. This one's a little different. I have no idea where my co-host was on this one. Yeah, go message him. I have no fucking idea. Anyways, we are back. We had my buddy Jay on. Now, you're not gonna be able to follow Jay anywhere. He's not on social media. He stays pretty fucking under the radar. I will say that he's done a lot of things. He's been a lot of places. He knows a lot. So please don't think he's another fucking blue-collar dumbass just talking out his ass. I respect his opinion a lot. We've had a lot of deep conversations, and I hope one of these days we can have him on for a real in-depth one. But it took months to get him on here, and he was able to give us about 45 minutes, hour of his time. So I hope you guys enjoy it. It's a little crazy, so I'll give our shout outs real quick. Please go follow us on Instagram at Real Ass People. You can go follow me at Big Danny G on Instagram. You can also follow my photography page at D Block Shots. A lot of new shit on that one. Just did a photo shoot this week, even during the quarantine. Took some heat for that, but we did it. Came out with some dope fucking content. What else? Oh yeah, you can check us out on YouTube. So don't forget to do that. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Please share the shit out of this podcast. It means so much to us. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple iTunes, Anchor. You can leave us a voice message on Anchor. We will play it on the show. We would love to do that. Anyways, I hope y'all are keeping it real during quarantine, staying safe. I know some people are going back to work. Hopefully we'll all be back to our normal fucking lives here in a bit. So anyways, I think that's about it. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's not a very long one today, but yeah. I'm gonna go drink a Corona while I listen to this. Anyways, woo! Okay, well, we are here with my buddy Jay, who probably is the only guy I know that has zero social media presence. So we're not going to give him a shout out and say go follow him because you can't. Yeah, don't. But anyways, so since people don't know who you are, why don't you give a little introduction on who you are, bud?
You hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Right on.
Are you gonna give a little introduction on who you are?
No, I'm just gonna start.
You're gonna start?
I met Dan probably 2-3 years ago?
About 2 years ago.
About 2 years ago, yeah, we were working together. I won't say what we were doing in case he hasn't put that out there, but we were working together, nothing gay. Very important distinction, nothing gay happened.
I thought we met on a gay porn set.
Wait, did I do the black cock bomb on you or no?
I don't know. I just remember the day we met, my ass really hurt.
You don't remember anything else though, right?
I don't remember anything else. I just blacked out and I woke up in a ditch.
Awesome. That's exactly what the plan was.
Okay.
I met Dan a couple years ago. And we just I figured out that he was a kind of a conservative gun guy pretty quickly. So I'm like, all right, I can talk to this person. He's not retarded. So yeah, that's how we met, and then we just kind of agreed on a lot of things, and then just kind of became buddies. And then now I'm seeing that you're doing your podcast. It's insane. I can't believe you're actually doing it. I've been talking doing one for years.
Okay, so since we finally have you on the podcast, and my co-host is not here, he's off doing I don't fucking know what. So me and you,
member of society.
He's not doing shit. But so when me and you met and we worked together, we always talked about doing this podcast. I wanted to do one. You said you always wanted to do one. And we thought we'd end up doing one together, but due to stuff you have going on in your life, you just can't devote the time to it, which
Yeah,
is
it's hard. I got little ones, you know.
which is understandable. But when we talked about it, it was well, we wanted a super offensive podcast, essentially. I remember that our group
At the time, society was losing its fucking mind.
Society's
Trying to be
still doing
offended
that.
about everything they possibly could. And it was just this big cultural shock that was kind of happening around everywhere. So I was just like, you know what? Having a really offensive podcast that just purposely takes shots at people who are supposed to be protected is kind of the move. It really is. Because that's how people really are.
I remember you saying that you wanted to be so offensive, you wanted to make a grown man cry with your words.
I believe we decided to, that if we were going to do it, we were going to call the podcast Rape. And what is the name of your podcast?
Okay. No, we're getting there. No, so I was like, what do you want to call the podcast? And you're like, fuck it. Let's just call it what it is. Let's just make the name of the podcast super offensive, and let's call it Rape. I remember telling you, I don't think we can call it that. I don't think iTunes is going to let us.
About the fact that you told me good.
And then I said, why don't you come up with an acronym? And I was pulling into my parking spot at the end of that day, and you texted me and you said, Real Ass People's Entertainment. So, oh, you're losing you there, bud. So
I gotcha.
So I've never let this out on the podcast publicly because I was waiting for the episode that you came on to let this out. The acronym for the podcast is RAPE, in honor of you.
I'm touched, literally.
Like people have been trying to get me to change the name, and I'm just like, I gotta keep it this, at least for a while. If it doesn't build because of the name, we might change it. But right now, we're gonna try and go as hard as we can with the name.
Fucking run with it, dude. It's a beautiful name.
Okay, so we're gonna kind of we're not gonna kind of ease into it just because for lack of time, because you do have a busy family life.
I do.
You wanted to talk about the Second Amendment and how it connects in with what's going on with the coronavirus, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so with that being said, I'm just gonna kind of let you take over because we haven't talked in a while, so I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on this stuff. So I'm just gonna kind of sit back, listen a little bit, and just ask you questions.
Okay, so first and foremost, a health emergency does not justify losing your civil liberties. Your First Amendment, your right to protest and assemble, you don't lose that because somebody fucking sneezes on you at the airport or because Chinese people are shitting themselves to death or whatever the fuck it is.
Very true.
It's a bunch of bullshit. All this is a giant power grab for the government. Anytime there's ever been a national emergency, you can look at 9/11, you can look at any of the phony bullshit the government has done to make emergencies happen, they immediately grab power and never give it back. Patriot Act at 9/11. I mean, it just keeps happening, and they run out of the same playbook over and over.
It's the same thing with taxes too.
Yeah, it's the same thing. They're only doing it because they're getting away with it. If we stopped and said, hey, fuck you, we're not doing this, it ain't going to happen. But everyone has a phone, everyone has a Facebook, everyone's got Twitter and all the other bullshit that keeps you nice and distracted and not focusing on the fact that all of your freedom is slipping through your fingers like sand. Because you're busy looking at the screen and thinking you're doing activism by posting shit and retweeting shit and putting thumbs ups on stuff. It doesn't do shit. It's at some point, things are going to come to a head. Shit's going to start having to get hot because these people are only going to get more brazen. They're only going to get more offensive with the way that they just take your rights and wave it right in your face.
Essentially what you're saying is we need to do the nowadays version of throwing tea into the harbor.
Yeah, I think we're long overdue for that. And I'm not calling for violence, and I'm not calling for people to hurt each other or just run out in the street and start trying to rob your neighbor. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you should go for the political process as best you can for as long as you can. But inherently, the political establishment that's been established is only in the interest of keeping itself in power. Therefore, trying to get the right guys elected and vote guys out and all that shit, that's all fine and dandy. But I don't know if you've done this or not, but you can look up your public records and it'll tell you what you're registered for voting is, like what you're registered as. Not once in my entire life have I registered as a Democrat or anything near it. But when I looked up the Washington State Public Records, it has me and my wife registered as Democrats. Why is that?
That's super interesting. I
Interesting.
might have to look that up.
Paperwork and mailed in my ballot and voted Republican down the line, and all of a sudden my family votes Democrat. It feels like somebody may have changed some shit around. And then you see all the legislation that gets through, the Second Amendment and other civil liberties that are just as important. Anything to do with trying to censor the internet is very dangerous. Anything trying to censor or control free speech in any way is very dangerous, and it seems to just be getting voted when no one around you wants it in. You could talk to, remember when I-1639 passed here in Washington? How many people did you come across that actually voted yes on that? Not one.
Well, okay, because of what I do for a living, I've probably come across a couple people that were in support of it, but just because of, I mean,
but people
I don't
who
know
are
if anyone's out there, but just because you know the kind of industry we're involved in, and it tends to lean one way, or well, here in Washington it actually kind of leans 50-50, but we're around a lot more of those people that don't have the same mindset as us. So I've come across a couple, but no, pretty much everybody I talked to was completely against 1639.
Yeah, and not in the county I live in, not in the county any of my friends live in, not one person really said, yeah, I know people who are definitely going to vote yes on that. And magically, it unanimously passed. How does that fucking happen? Well, I'll tell you, they've been rigging elections for fucking ever. That's how. It's completely phony. The system is so corrupt that they're not going to risk anybody getting in there and trying to do things. Look at the president now. Remember in 2016, when they announced that Trump won, look at the entire face. Even my own face was like melted off because I couldn't fucking believe Hillary didn't win. I knew they had it rigged for her. We all knew that, right? Didn't we all believe that was the game? It was rigged in her favor, and we knew that's just what we were gonna get.
Well, I don't think I was
asshole puckered.
I was not as suspicious of the system back then. It's since he got into office, I've been suspicious of the system, and not suspicious of Trump, just suspicious of the government in general, because once he got elected, I started paying a lot more attention to things.
You have to.
Just because shit got crazy. Like, I went from being almost zero interest in politics to all of a sudden that is almost all I read about. It's almost all I listen to. It's like all I talk about. And it's been like that for the last 2 years. So from 2016 to 2018, like, I went from no politics to very deep into politics.
Right. Well, and just with the way culture has been shifting and going extremely lefty, communist shit, and, you know, the media, mainstream media is, you know, supporting everything China does every single day, and it's insane to me. Like, they're screaming for change, and it just doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, the part that confuses me is, where is this coming from? Why are we trying to tear down every positive family value, every positive thing in life? We're trying to turn it on its head and make everything just wicked. And I'm not a religious guy or anything like that, but it's like, it's really creeping me out with how dark everything is trying to get to. And it's going in a big damn hurry.
Well, I think it's people depend on, I think one of the reasons is because people depend on the family, the function of the family. You know, you got people you can lean on, people help you out, but if you don't have that family,
well, it's
who else are you going to lean on? You're going to lean on the government.
Right, exactly. It makes you have to depend on them for everything, even your purpose and your sense of community. And it's the ultimate brainwashing control over you. And it's very effective because, I mean, all of the COVID-19 shit that's going on, all the lockdown stuff, all the crazy commie lines at Walmart, shit like that, like, you can't just make people do that shit, because the highest land of the law is the Constitution of the United States, and none of that shit's on there. So how are they enforcing it? Because they know people are sheep, and they know they've got you so conditioned and so afraid that you're gonna do it. all on your own. You're going to imprison yourselves in your homes. We're not going to have to pull one trigger.
You know,
Well, you see cities coming together and protesting in mass all over the country now, saying, no, this is bullshit. We don't need to lock down for this. You know, and it's like half of me goes, well, maybe we should be locking down because of the real health risk if there is one. Maybe I could be wrong. But, you know, maybe I'm not wrong. And maybe most of us are just going to get a gnarly cold and kind of be over it.
Yeah,
You know
I totally understand. As far as people locking themselves in their house, here in Washington, the governor said, hey, we're shutting a lot of businesses down. Please stay at home. If you do go out, stay 6 feet away from
right,
people.
but here's the
and
difference. There are governors who are not asking. There are governors who are forcing you by the threat of being thrown in jail while they're simultaneously releasing criminals.
There is that. And that's a whole nother issue. But like here in Washington, the governor even said you can go outside, you can go for a walk, you can walk your dog, you can go get some exercise or whatever outside. And then
right.
I tell people that I'm going outside for whatever, like to go get food, because you can go pick up food too. And then
right.
people are berating each other on social media.
I love that.
Saying, you're a fucking dumbass. You need to stay the fuck inside. Be like, I can't go out and get a burger
from a filthy Uber driver. No problem. That seems to be safe. But
right?
God, you stand 5 feet next to somebody in line at Walmart. It's just they're fucking with us at this point.
There was a person in my building who was complaining that the gardeners outside were still working. They're stuck inside. They're like, there's two little Mexican dudes outside with a leaf blower and a weed eater. Like, you're inside. Why are they affecting you? They're 40 feet apart. They're not near anybody. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's either, because it's the lockdown, everyone's like sleeping or in their house. Like, it's.
Well, think about it
why
like
are
this.
You bitching?
Everybody's home. This is why everybody's bitching. Here's the answer. Everybody's home. Everybody's sleeping in for the first time until 10:30 in the morning every morning because they don't have a fucking job to go to. So when the gardeners are going off at 9:45, it wakes everybody up and pisses you off. That's why they're now complaining about it. Before, when they had jobs, they were gone during that time, so they never heard one fucking lawnmower. Now, everybody's hearing every lawnmower, and everybody's pissed about it. Nobody gives a shit about the Mexicans, whether or not they're working or not working or healthy or unhealthy. That's not how it works in this country, pal. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But nobody really gives a shit about the guys who were painting the houses or roofing somebody's house or crawling underneath somebody's house and scooping shit out of a pipe. Nobody cares about them. Yeah.
Be quiet.
Okay, I'll step outside. You hang out here.
Okay.
I'm sorry. He told me to shut up.
That's definitely your kid.
Yeah, he's a little shithead sometimes, but I love him. I wanted to bring something up about.
Oh, hey, you're still connected to Bluetooth.
Am I?
I think so.
Yeah, let me turn you off. How's that?
That sounds better.
Okay, now I can hear you better. So my whole thing with the election, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I don't want to be on anybody's fucking team. I don't want to be part of anybody's evil tribe that votes for mass slaughter over in some other part of the world or fucking votes on stealing money from hardworking people. And this gets back to the whole point. You know, if they had taken that $6 trillion and instead of giving $5.5 trillion to the banks, and they dispersed that amongst the American taxpayers, we would have all got about $60,000 a piece.
Are you talking about with the stimulus package?
Oh yeah, we would all got
the stimulus package was only $2 trillion. But
no. If you look at the bills that got passed, they earmarked another $4 trillion in that.
That's interesting, but I do know the Federal Reserve. I was reading an article the other day. The Federal Reserve lent or gave loans to the banks for $1 trillion a day for 30 days. But that doesn't go towards our national debt. That's not the government, because the Federal Reserve isn't part of the government.
Right. So who gets that money?
Well, the banks are supposed to get. It was
right.
a loan from the Federal Reserve to the banks.
How much of that goes to the accounts of the people, and how much of that goes to, I don't know, bonuses and other things like that? It's the same scam they pulled in 2008.
Who fucking knows? But at least the government itself isn't involved in that because, like I said, the Federal Reserve isn't part of the government, which is another thing a lot of people don't understand. The Federal Reserve is its own entity, which is why we have
Yeah.
a national debt. The government borrows from the Federal Reserve.
Correct. It's not a government agency in any sort.
Although I think a lot of government officials are actually on the board of directors for the Federal Reserve, though.
Oh, well, they all work very closely together and hang
They might
out.
as well be the same
parties.
thing.
They're all part of the same fraternities and secret societies that eat children or whatever else they do. I mean, they're all part of that same shit. Whether they work at the same building or not, they're all best friends and they all hang out and they're all in a club that we're not in. And the
Very
fact
true.
remains, every bit of the taxes that they collect is fucking theft. It's theft from you and it's theft from every one of us. And the only reason they're able to do it is because we all agree to pay it.
I think that's why the government gets larger, is because we all agree to pay these taxes. The government was functioning just fine back before we had taxes. What was it, before World War II?
Here's
Or World War
the
I,
whole
they
thing.
started taxing.
It's never functioned. That's the whole point. Government's not supposed to function. The Constitution, Declaration of Independence, the way we structured the power structure of our government was to make it so that it could not do much, which is important because when they can do much and they all agree on the same thing, it's usually something really horrible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is the government was not very big. It was very small before World War One. And like, oh,
Right.
hey, we've got a war. We need to tax these people to pay for the war.
Well-
And then that tax didn't go away. So that money's still coming in. We're not paying for a war. Government gets bigger. And they keep telling people, hey, if we keep taxing you this, we'll do this for you.
That's your old
And
pal
then-
Woodrow Wilson, who created the Federal Reserve and
And
signed
then-
it into law on Christmas Eve when the House and the Congress was not in session. Illegal.
Oh, Jesus.
Every bit of it's been unconstitutional since day one. Not one bit of it has ever been legitimate. That's why I'm done with the voting. And I'm telling people now, look, the smartest thing you can do is stop giving them your fucking money. Stop paying the fucking bullshit student loans that they've permanently entrapped you in. And if everybody did that, we would take back the power. Look, the reason why they have to do false flags and all the other bullshit that they do is because they know the power truly lies with the people and our money. That's where the power is. It's in our pockets.
Yeah, I
You
think
may not have a lot of money in your pocket, but the little bit you do have and the little bit of skin you have in the game is extremely valuable, man. And when it's everybody's, and that's why they're fighting so hard for power.
I don't see anything really changing without, for lack of a better word, some type of revolution.
Yeah, no, but I think it can be, I hold out hope that it could be an intellectual revolution before it turns into a bloody revolution. Let's hope.
Dude, with social media, I don't see that happening. People are too fucking lazy to try and educate
Well,
themselves just a little
But
bit.
people
To
are
read
also
a
too
book.
lazy to take an AR-15 and walk outside of their house away from their families and organize into a militia and then march on the Capitol. If you think people are too lazy to get online, they're too lazy to get out of their fucking chair to go do that and organize. It's going to have to take extreme violent measures for us to respond. Look, if you see what's happening in Hawaii, they've done full-on martial law, basically. Weekend shutdown curfew, you're not allowed to be on the street. Any vehicle on wheels will be arrested and stopped, the whole deal.
Wait, where is this?
Hawaii. Look
Hawaii.
into
I was just talking to someone who was in Hawaii a week ago. They weren't even on lockdown yet.
just happened this past week.
Interesting.
They're pushing it further. They're experimenting doing a full weekend closure to stop the spread and all this other bullshit. All they're doing is clamping down as hard as they can and seeing how long they can get away with it before people have a really violent, non-responsive reaction to it. Now, when people start getting pissed and go, fuck you, I'm going outside, you can't arrest the entire neighborhood, and then the whole community just goes back outside, that's what it's going to take, is everyone's just going to have to walk out of their fucking house because they can't arrest all of you. We outnumber them 10 to 1. That's just the truth. But people are cowards. They're afraid because they hear nothing but what's on the news. They don't question any of it. They just listen and follow orders because they're sheep. Most of them don't have an inner dialogue like you and I do.
Yeah, I just, so for me, when it comes to the news, there's one specific source, I won't name it right now because I know there'll probably be backlash, that I tend to trust more just because.
I'll say it. Fox News.
No, I don't say Fox. No, not Fox News.
Just playing.
No, but
they're just as guilty as all the other ones.
Oh, they are. Well, I don't know about as guilty. They're guilty of some things. I wouldn't say as guilty.
Right. They're guilty of partisanship. Obviously, they're the right wing version of CNN. But
But
the
they
truth
they
remains,
weren't using like footage from Italy
right?
as
They're
the
not
New York.
manufacturing bullshit and manufacturing lies.
But
They're just
but
reporting for the
I'll
most part.
say if you're not following like a smaller news source, that hasn't been, I would say, corrupted yet. Take what you see on like Fox News, because it's really the only right-wing news station. Take what you hear on the right, take what you hear on the left. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle, and then still take it with a grain of salt.
Right. I think at this point, worrying about what's going on in every corner of the country and every corner of the world is pointless, and all it is something to keep you afraid. If you focus on what's going on in your neighborhood, what's going on in your community, I think that's where it should stay. If you keep those things close, keep things close to the chest, man. It just works better that way. Keep your neighborhood tight.
So I'm curious. So how do you think the coronavirus is affecting the Second Amendment?
Well, now that we're getting into the gravy here, I'll give you the gravy. So if you look at, let's say, Virginia, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, California, there are federal lawsuits happening in almost all those states because the governors of those states, mostly left-leaning blue states, have suspended gun sales, even though the president and his administration and the Supreme Court has come out and said that they are essential business. So there are a bunch of lawsuits in 10, 12 different states right now suing the federal government and suing the state governments for infringing on that right. And though it's already been announced a federal essential business from the federal government, the state governments are taking it upon themselves to just kind of swoop in and try and grab that power. And they're trying all kinds of shit. They're also trying to slip in a House bill and a matching Senate bill that was proposed from a senator from Atlanta who's a complete dipshit moron. Can't remember his name. It's not worth remembering. But the bill is very dangerous. It talks about red flag laws, which, if you don't know about red flag laws, that's a direct target at veterans.
Are you talking about was it HR 117 or something?
Yeah, it's HR
like
717 or some horse shit like that. And there's a matching Senate bill under a different number sequence. But
I think I have that saved. Let me take a look really quick. I might be able to reference.
You know the one I'm talking about. The guys from a district in Atlanta who proposed the House bill.
Okay, it's House Bill HR 5717.
Right.
Said we'll have 30% tax on all guns, 50% tax on all ammo, and will require a federal license to purchase both. This is trying to get pushed through immediately. It also says you would need a federal license to own, handle, or shoot any guns you already own.
And also, Nancy Pelosi in the fourth part of this stimulus package that they're supposed to be voting on, Nancy Pelosi has been trying to cram in and wedge in red flag laws into that. That way they can come start confiscating guns from veterans who are outspoken, or anybody who's outspoken about their rights of the Second Amendment, or, has any sort of protest against upcoming martial law, which they're, again, softly introducing in most of the liberal states.
Well, we don't
Illinois, Ohio, there have been lawsuits.
I've heard there's some states where military is helping out in some capacity. I haven't heard a whole lot about it.
Now, here's where we get to the whole fake COVID thing. You remember here in Seattle, they built a whole Army hospital right in CenturyLink's parking lot, right?
Did they?
Yeah, they did for about 2 weeks. And then it closed because they had 0 patients.
Huh.
Interesting, huh?
That is interesting.
Remember the hospitals where it had fucking people hanging out the windows trying to get treatment? But all of the hospitals are empty because no one's going. No one's leaving their house. And they had set up millions of dollars worth of equipment and military personnel and taxpayer money just got put out there for 10 days and then rolled right up. And how much of that money could have just went directly into our bank accounts to help, I don't know, pay the fucking bills while nobody can work or nobody can fucking buy food?
Well,
see what I'm saying?
Honestly, okay, so I don't agree people shouldn't have been able to work. I also am 100% against the stimulus package. I don't think it should have ever been approved. I don't think it should have ever been a thought, because it is a socialist thing.
It's the largest transfer of wealth in human history from the working class population to the top 1% of society.
So
there you go.
So yeah, so
no wonder they all agreed on it. That's the whole thing. If they all agree on it, it's probably bad.
Yeah, well, bad for us.
Right.
Yeah, I'm totally against it. Like, and I've told people that, and they're like, "Well, if you're against it, then you're not going to take it." And I mean, honestly,
No,
sure,
of course you're gonna take it.
I could.
You don't have 10 million in the bank. You're a working class guy like
Well, that's
everyone
it.
else.
But even if I wanted to on morals or beliefs or whatever, like it's not going to really make a difference. Like
It doesn't matter when
our
your kids are
economy's
hungry,
already
bro.
fucked. Our national debt's already fucked. It's not going to matter if I send $1,200 back. But also
Right.
the IRS took mine anyways, just because. Long story short, I was behind on child support. Not my fault, but so I don't even get
And
my
again,
stimulus check
this is
anyways.
exactly the ploy. It's they're not trying to embolden the middle class with this. They're trying to make everyone more and more dependent on the government, so they have more and more control over your daily life. And if people can't fucking see that, then they deserve to be in the chains they're about to get. I
Oh,
just don't. I don't know what else to say anymore. If you can't realize what's happening and realize that your government is fucking doesn't have your best interests at heart, then I don't know what to tell you, man.
so
Enjoy the fuck. Get fitted up for your handcuffs, man.
so get this. So Trump had a $2 trillion stimulus package.
Here it comes, man. Right.
Trump had did you say a train's coming?
Yeah, I took him to the train. He loves seeing trains, so I took him to the train
You
tracks.
might want to back away from that, otherwise I'm not gonna be able to hear you.
Well, we'll find out.
So Trump had a $2 trillion stimulus package, and the Democrats didn't approve it because it gave money to businesses, or so much money to businesses, and they wanted to give more money to the people. So this is the way the Democrats want people to depend on them, is by giving more to the people and less to businesses. Now you even have the small business owners not able to pay their shit, and now they're relying on the government too.
And again, all of the things, the more money that they wanted for the people that the left was fighting for so vocally and publicly, ended up being a bunch of earmarked money for abortion funding and shit like that. That, murdering babies probably isn't the best idea right now. Don't you think? We could probably put that on hold for a few minutes.
Oh, they like doing that. It brings them money.
Right, exactly. Well, and here's the other thing. If you notice all the states that are saying that they have the worst cases and all that, and then you see like the governor of New York turned down Remington Arms, willingly offered up their factory to produce at super cheap cost ventilators. And the governor of New York turned him down because he wants nothing to do with the gun business. These people don't give a shit
Cuomo,
about,
right?
yeah, they don't give a shit about a virus. They don't care about how many people die. They hope you all die. They look at us like we're fucking rats running across the street, dude.
So guess what Cuomo got busted doing? So
Being a fucking meatball?
no, he's an idiot for sure. No, so
Fucking garlic knot, dude.
So Cuomo got sent 30,000 respirators or whatever, because the federal government had so many, and they got distributed to like the worst spots, New York being one. He got sent 30,000. Then he goes and publicly says, "Oh, we need help. We need ventilators. We don't have any. Blah blah blah. Trump isn't sending us any. Blah blah blah."
No, it's all publicity stunt.
No, get this. They found the respirators that Trump had sent him. He had people stash them in a warehouse, and when he got confronted by it, they're like, "Oh no, those are our backup emergency supply ones. We need ones to use now."
And then you see stories coming out. Oh, they're digging mass graves in New York and burying all the unclaimed bodies. It's like, okay, well, yeah, it tells me the more they can hype this up and the more they can say their state is in danger, the more federal money that will come into the state for the government of that state to steal.
Yeah. Also, they were trying to say that the hospitals in New York were like war zones. One of the people I follow on Instagram, he's very outspoken politically. He goes down to one of the biggest hospitals in New York, and he's showing you around the sidewalks and stuff, and he's like,
empty.
"There's nobody here."
Angeles, same thing in Portland. Same thing in every major city in the United States. The hospitals are fucking empty, dude. They're empty.
Yeah, there's nothing. The busiest I've seen is there's one. I can hear the horns. There's one testing site I saw in Everett, Washington, that had a line of cars getting tested, not people with it, just getting tested for it.
Oh, did you hear about that bullshit too? Trip out on this. The first batch of tests that they came out with, they were saying it was giving people COVID-19.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because obviously if you can line up the dummies and give them the fucking disease, it justifies you getting all that federal money.
Oh my
You can report the
god.
numbers and you can get more federal funding, bro. This is also Inslee and his
Oh my
dirtbags
god.
can fucking rob the people blind. It's so fucking easy. I wish I was in a position to commit these kind of crimes because I'd be a much richer man.
You would be.
Yeah, you know, fuck, thank God I don't have that kind of power. The good Lord knew what he was doing by not giving me any power.
You're just
But it's obviously a fucking scam. I mean, all it is to get more money from the federal government, which means, and again, no money comes from the federal government. It comes from the taxpayer. So
Okay,
that means they're stealing taxpayer dollars from around the country for this state, for California, for New York, and all the liberal shitholes that they've ran into the ground.
Okay, so I got a question for you. What do you think is, I don't know how to quite word this. I think everything was going, that this wasn't a big deal, and that one of the reasons they're doing this is because, I don't know how it was coordinated, but somehow between the Democrats and the liberal media, they have essentially tanked the economy right before the election to make Donald Trump look bad.
Yeah, it's
And
a
then
great
that-
idea if you're trying to make the guy you're running against look bad.
And then that way when the economy gets better, it's underneath a Democratic president.
Right.
So that's
Well,
what I
here's the
think is
thing.
what's really going on.
So I'll tell you why this virus originated in China. And if you remember a few years ago, they reported that, I don't know, it wasn't Nancy Pelosi. It was another Barbara Boxer from California, a Democrat senator, had a Chinese spy as her limo driver for 20 fucking years. And then all of a sudden that guy got deported. Interesting, huh? I'm pretty sure the Democratic Party has been working with the fucking Chinese for a really long time. That's probably why all this is going on. Hillary probably made a lot of promises that she was guaranteed an election, a victory, and then when she didn't win, she now owes a lot of fucking Chinese people a lot of money. Probably some really dangerous people. And
I
this
wouldn't be
is all part of that.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. People kept trying to say that Trump was working with like Putin in Russia, and
Right,
it's like
they try to distract you with the Russia
and
bullshit.
it's like the Clinton administration sold like, what was it, 40% of our uranium to Russia. Like, you gave them nuclear material.
Not only did they give him nuclear material, the Clinton administration, along with the Bush and continued by the Obama administration, by the way, they all work together. Democrat and Republican are the same thing. It means no matter who you vote for, you're getting John McCain. Look into that piece of shit. So what that means is when these guys put in place, like, let's see, Bush put in the Patriot Act, and then Obama strengthened it, and then Trump re-signed it.
Oh, did he?
Why do they do shit? Yes, of course. He's in on it too, man. You don't get to be in that chair unless you're the ultimate war criminal piece of shit scumbag.
I'll go
That's
with
what
that.
it is. You have to be in that chair because that's where all the evil in the world is. And that's where it's all controlled. You have to be evil, inherently. I don't think it's going to take some magical politician with awesome words that it's going to change things. What's going to change things is people getting pissed off and getting hungry. That's what's going to make things change.
I see this country. It's sad to say, and I wish it wasn't going to be that, but I see this country taking a really, well, we already take a hard left turn, but going
We're taking a dark
very,
turn.
we're taking a dive. Like, I see us going down very fast.
Oh, and again, you look at the way our financial and fiscal policies operated in the government, it's a suicide mission. It really is. I mean, they're trying to crash this fucking thing permanently. And it's at the expense of all of our lives is worth it to them because they're sociopaths who are literally blood-soaked monsters.
Oh, I totally believe it.
Yeah, I mean,
It's-
this is what it takes to be in that position. You can't have empathy for thousands or millions of people dying. Look at the Chinese government. You think they give a fuck if they lose 2.5 million people with this? They would be glad it's less mouths they have to feed.
That's very true.
You know what I'm
That's-
saying?
That's
Oh, and coincidentally, it all kicks off while they're protesting the government in Hong Kong. What a coincidence, huh? No protest in France anymore either, huh?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that a little bit. I was like, I think
It's
the
all
Chinese
Chinese.
the Chinese started the virus because they're thinking, oh, hey, this communist shit isn't working. We got a bunch of people we can't pay for. Let's just put something out there that kills all the old people, and then, you know, if a few million people die, you know, it's better for our pockets.
Well, think about it like this. The Bush administration, the Obama administration, and I believe the Trump administration have all been party to signing over public lands in the United States as collateral for the debt that we hold to China.
Oh, China is like the biggest landowner in America.
Yeah, absolutely. Why do you think
insane.
that is? Who do you think sold him that? Was it you? Was it me? That's our land, right? It's public land.
It's a combination of it's a combination of everything, because China owns so many businesses in America that they obviously have to buy land to do it. And even if it's a Chinese company that can't own it, they have a sister company that they own that's American based by the land, which essentially is owned by China.
And look, I'm not speaking against anybody who's trying to make a dollar and feed their family. I don't have anything against that. What I have something against is corporations working with governments to totally seize control over the entire population. That's called fascism, and that's what we just signed into law with this stupid ass stimulus bill. That's fascism. Corporations rob the people blind, and the people get the breadcrumbs. Again, because they look at us like we're fucking rats.
I can kind of see that. I'm just against big government. I don't think there should be as many laws as there should be. There should not be as much control.
Look, you call me a constitutional purist or whatever the fuck you want to say, but if you look at the Constitution, it pretty well covers it.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't need all this extra ordinances. That shit's not law. What's law is what is found in nature. Your right to defend yourself and your right to speak your mind.
And for me, I call myself a Second Amendment purist. It says the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. Infringed, obviously meaning to hinder.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what part of shall not is negotiable. That doesn't seem like, oh, well, it's an interpretation thing from a long time. Bullshit. For the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
And for me, the one law that I will agree with is you should probably be an adult, or at least of a certain age to own a firearm. Because I'm not going to say, hey, a 10-year-old should go in and buy a 12-gauge shotgun.
No, I'm not saying for purchase, but I also think that it should be the right of the parent to teach and make that child competent and safe. That is the better way.
I totally agree with that. What I mean by is like purchase. I don't want a 10-year-old to just walk into a Walmart and be able to buy a 12-gauge shotgun. So there should be an age limit on purchasing, or at least have a parent's consent. No, do I think a 10-year-old, even if the parent consented on that child buying a 9mm pistol, that child should not be able to necessarily carry it until they are a certain age or because of a certain mental capacity. Right. Especially in this day and age when it's taking longer for someone to be responsible. But for me,
I got an idea that would fix all this shit.
Well, you can tell me that in a second. Tell me that. Hold on a second. So for me, any law outside of an age limit to purchase a gun is completely unconstitutional.
Right.
So I mean, now it's like you can be 18 and I can't even buy a semi-automatic shotgun to defend my family.
But you can join the military and go put your ass on the line.
And I can vote.
And you can vote, but you can't buy beer.
And I can sign a contract, and I can get in a car. I can have a license.
You can get in a car and operate at 16 years old, man.
Yeah, to operate a machine that is responsible for 30,000 deaths every year, but I can't go buy a gun, which is only responsible for about 6,100 deaths a year.
Less than like 0.1% of death in this country. More people die from autoerotic asphyxiation than they do from gun violence.
Yeah, well, more people die from just getting hit by a hard object.
Yeah, fucking falls off ladders kill more people than gun shit. People are so fucking blindfolded and just believe whatever bullshit CNN says. And this is how you get these crazy lies out there about the gun world. And the gun people are always quiet and trying to go about their lives and never really kind of stand up to that. There's a few guys, but it should be all of us. You know, it's a responsibility for your freedom. You should be responsible for securing your freedom. You should talk to your neighbors about, hey, if shit really goes haywire, we should team up and keep this neighborhood safe. You know what I mean? You should maybe talk to your neighbors because the cell phone will get shut off one day.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, it's the hard part about all this is people just don't know what to do or how to act. There are a lot of guys out there who are big Second Amendment guys who are like, yeah, fucking boogaloo, let's do it. But at the same time, who's really ready to take that step, organize, and really go take back your government against everything?
I'm so with that whole Virginia thing, how that law they passed in Virginia.
Yeah, they just passed more anti-gun bills a few days ago.
I said the first bullet
because the people didn't have the right to protest it this time.
Yeah,
Interesting how that works.
So I told a few buddies, I don't know if they're serious. I'm dead serious. The first bullet that flies over that issue, I'm packing a bag, I'm packing my guns, and I'm headed to Virginia. Fuck my job. That right there, the first bullet that flies over that, for me, I think is going to be the start of what is essentially going to be a revolution in this country.
Now we can get into the fun part, which is the what if and the hypotheticals. Okay, so I live fairly close to the governor's mansion, let's say. That's all I'll say. So when that first bullet flies, someone's going to have to take care of business here. Someone's going to have to take control of how things are being done here at home. And I think that's where most people would focus if the bullets did start whizzing. Everyone's going to look to their own state capital and go, let's start here. And it'll kind of go from that point. I don't think everyone's going to try and get on a train to Virginia. I think people are going to go, all right, let's get ready in our state, because with what's happening there, it's probably going to happen here.
Well, that's just it. I don't
keep your world small.
I can see it both ways. I can see if it happens in one state, it's going to lead, but I can also see it kind of staying in one area just because, like, that's
right. They're going to try and keep
it.
They'll try and keep it in one area, but the reality of the situation is, if in the East Coast Boogaloo starts for them over there, it either has to start here because the government here is going to have a response to what happens in Virginia. So if bullets start whizzing over there, they're going to shut shit down hard here before it starts to become a problem too. This is why I'm saying, if you think small, most likely it's going to affect your direct community first. And you have to think about how it's going to affect your community. Well, if something happens in Virginia, what's going to happen is every other state is going to respond by shutting down the roads, shutting down all access to everything, and basically keeping you in your neighborhood and in your home, which... Have they done 7 or 8 of those 9 steps already? Yeah. They've already got it. You're already locked in your house and can't go out unless you need food. And all they got to do is say no more of that until it's your day of the week.
Yeah, next step is we start seeing fucking bread lines, right?
Well, yeah. Well, I've already seen it. I went to Walmart today to get groceries, and I had to stand outside that fucking place for 20 minutes trying to get in to maintain a certain number of people in and out of the store. It's like communist fucking China.
Yeah.
Not one person has a mask. Nobody's fucking sick or coughing.
Well, I mean, you don't even need a mask. Don't get me fucking started on the way people are mishandling fucking shit and getting shit all twisted on how this virus is supposed to be handled.
Yeah.
It's the fucking. Oh, there goes that train again.
Another one.
It's the fucking flu that people have got you freaked out over.
It's not even as bad as the flu. That's the funny part.
It's not. But so people started giving me a lot of shit that I'm not taking this seriously. Okay?
I'm not going to work, am I? I'm taking it pretty fucking serious.
Do you know what I did? I took 10 minutes out of my day and I went to the CDC website. I opened up 2 tabs on my web browser. One, coronavirus. The other, the flu. Except for a couple small little details, the exact same fucking thing, transmitted the same way. It's harmful to the same group of fucking people. It's deadly to the same group of fucking people. The flu, between 2017 and 2018, that winter, in 6 months, 61,000 Americans died from the flu. That's not 61,000 in the world. That's 61,000 in America, in the U.S. How many fucking people have died from the coronavirus here in the last 3 months?
Exactly.
What is it, like 2,000?
I don't even know, because it's probably a fucking lie too. You see what I'm saying? This
is
the media hyping everything up, trying to make it way worse than it is so that the economy remains closed so that Trump is fucked over. Again, this is their last ditch, pull out all the stops effort to try and stop Trump from re-election. Guess what? Not happening.
They're trying to pump up the death toll here too by if you die from heart disease and you go to the coroner and you test for corona, Oh yeah, any death. If you tested for corona in your fucking body, they're ruling it as a coronavirus death.
Yeah, have you noticed they haven't been reporting any flu deaths or any fucking congestive heart failures or any kidney failures or
It's
any
all
fucking,
coronavirus.
It's all coronavirus now because the more cases they have,
The scarier it
how
looks.
deadly it is, the scarier it looks, and the more federal funding they get for their numbers. Again, it's about numbers to them. You are not even worth a number. That's why they're willing to fucking lie and say that you died of something you didn't die of, so that they can get more fucking money in their pockets. None of that money comes here. All that money does is pay for our oppression. It pays for more fucking roadways to be blocked off, more things to be shut down, and more money in those guys' fucking pockets. What's happening is, and before revolution starts, the rich are going to loot everything. They're going to take everything they can get their fucking hands on and run for the hills. And after that, they're going to leave us to figure it all out to ourselves. So again, start learning how to garden, start learning how to farm, and start learning how to fucking hunt and kill game, because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be rural communities that are made up out of fallen cities. Because the rich are going to loot it and run.
I'm just
like they
waiting for
always do.
I'm just waiting for the looters to start, because I sit here every day just wishing a motherfucker would.
Bro, I told you, I've been trying to leave like electronics and shit leading up to my doorway, like little Reese's Pieces, trying to catch one. It's been quiet, bro. Like you can hear a fucking mouse fart in my neighborhood at night. It sucks. We're definitely the loudest family there, for sure. You can hear us miles because no one else is making noise past 7 p.m. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
Yeah, it's
been eerie.
So I'll say, since I live in Tacoma and my son lives up in Marysville and I have to go up and see him and get him for the weekends and stuff, I'll say driving through Seattle has been super nice. Zero traffic. Zero traffic.
I have been driving like a fucking asshole because there's no one out, basically.
But the cops are out like a motherfucker, though.
You know what? Not in my town. I haven't seen
Really?
one fucking police officer.
From Tacoma to Marysville, I cannot make that drive without seeing at least half a dozen cops parked on the side of the road, not counting all the ones that are going up and down the highway. It's fucking nuts.
But again, where is that? That's in a major city.
It is.
It's on lockdown. Because where's the rioting and the bullshit going to happen first? In a major city with congested population that doesn't have enough supplies. That's why there are more cops there than there would be anywhere else in the country area. You know what I mean? It makes sense. If you wanted to shut everything down and prepare for looting and widespread rioting, you lock down the cities first because that's where your concentration of shitheads are. You're homeless. You're poor. Has anybody reported on the fucking homeless? I haven't seen one homeless person.
I don't give a shit about the homeless, though.
Right? Well, but
there's two class of people that I care about in this world, and I need to be a little. Okay, so I talked about this on other podcasts. So everyone listening, yes, I'm learning on being more compassionate. I do have feelings, but there's generally two people that I have a bleeding heart for. One, that's kids. Two, that's veterans. It's the only people I 100% give a shit about. Kids don't choose their fucking fate. As far as I'm concerned, if you signed your fucking name and you swore into the fucking military, this country owes you everything, even if you didn't deploy. Just because you were willing to.
Fair enough. There's some truth in that. I don't want to get into the minutia of all that, but regardless, when we come back to how this is all affecting us on the local level and the community level, everybody's hurting to pay their fucking rent, man. Everybody's hurting to keep their fucking lights on. Everyone's bills are stacking and stacking, even though they may not have to pay right now if they work something out with their landlord or their utilities. You may not have to pay now, but that shit's, it's not like they're not charging. It's all going to rack up and everyone's going to be in a pile of debt when this is all lifted. And that kind of, it's almost like it's by design.
Oh no. So that's another way this shit's gonna crash.
Yeah,
So I've been getting into real estate recently. That's what I'm trying to get into. I'm trying to get out of the game we're in.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to do it for 30 years.
Fuck no.
So I'm trying to learn real estate, and all these people are saying that landlords shouldn't be charging rent for 4 months. They should just not charge people. But people don't realize
business works, man.
What people don't realize, and everyone's like saying, "Oh, well, it's their investment property. They should." They think every landlord is rich, and that they should have.
Not the way it is.
They should have 4 months of rent backed up. Like, it's because they're like, well, if I wasn't here, he would still have to pay the mortgage. Like, there's a difference between your one unit you're living in not being rented,
Right.
and their entire complex not paying rent. There's a big difference because after was it June 4th, they have to pay their fucking mortgages,
Yeah.
and
They
that
have-
3 months of rent
They
you
have to
didn't
pay
pay,
for those
it's
properties
due.
too.
Yeah, it's due. So let's put it this way: if you don't pay your rent, then the landlord can't pay their fucking mortgage. Then they get fucking foreclosed on,
And
if
then
all
guess who owns the building you live
and
in
if
now?
a lot of people can't. So if all these people are getting fucking foreclosed on, and they can't fucking sell the building to someone who has money, which if all these fucking landlords are having trouble, paying their mortgage, who's going to
Absolutely. Who
buy the
gets it?
fucking building? The building's going to
The
be
bank.
foreclosed on by the bank, and you're getting kicked out.
You're getting kicked out, or you're going to now have to work with the bank, who is now subsidized by the federal government, which means the federal government now owns your ass. Again, this is the power grab they're going for.
And
They
also,
own every aspect of your life, and you have to totally depend on them for everything. You're fucked.
people are like that have that mentality of the landlord should have 4 months of their mortgage like stacked up. Oh, two things on that. Hey, asshole, where's your 4 months of rent that you have stacked up?
Right.
It's the same thing.
It's
Just
system-
because
everybody has to play along for this phony system to work. It doesn't matter what fake tax bracket you're in. None of that shit matters. What matters is if you are a good person and you work things out with your landlord, you're probably going to be okay. If you try and do this rent protest shit, it's probably not going to work out well for you in 3 months. You may get that 90-day moratorium where you don't have to pay anything, but on that 91st day, your ass is out. It's coming. And a lot of people are in for a rude awakening. I think a lot of people from our generation are in for a rude awakening because they're, oh, well, fuck it. No one has to pay rent right now. I'm not paying rent. That's not a fucking wise move. You should do what you can to reach out and be a human being and try and work things out so that your landlord doesn't get fucked, lose all their property to the bank, and then now you're paying the bank, who's not going to give a fuck about you, even more so than your landlord.
I'm actually kind of using the whole can't pay rent thing to my advantage. I'm kind of in a interesting
No,
situation.
look, I'm not saying don't subvert the evil system whenever you get the chance. You should. What I'm saying is there are consequences to that, and be aware of them.
Oh yeah, my situation
Unless
is
there's a magical jubilee of debt elimination where they just get rid of every debt that everybody has and call it square, and we start back over with the pretend money, because that's pretty much what it's either going to come to that, or everyone's going to have to be an instant farmer.
Yeah, let's just be clear for everyone. There's no such thing as debt forgiveness. You're paying for it one way or another.
Right.
Just
This whole
because
stimulus bill, guess what? Next year in tax time,
taxes are going
my
to be
tax
higher,
return's fucking gone. And
Or
I'm probably
ta- or-
going to end up owing the government money.
or taxes are going to be higher somehow. They're going to get you somehow.
Yeah, this is not, it's always a double-edged sword, dude. It's never, you're seeing the sleight of hand magic in front of your eyes on the cameras, all that pro wrestling bullshit. Yeah, here's the problem. The whole world at one point found out wrestling was fake and then didn't care. And this is what politics has become. Oh, we know it's fake, but we don't care. We're still going to get riled up over fake shit. And it's crazy to me. It's like, you don't see what the bigger, more important thing is? Take this time to get fucking ready, because the economy's not coming back from this. Take this time while you still have the internet. Watch every YouTube video you can on gardening and farming, because you're going to need it. With whatever bullshit you're left with when this all shuts off, and it will shut off, that's what you're going to have, is what you're left with. So learn to use what you have, learn to be resourceful, and I don't know, maybe try and spend some time with your families and quit worrying about the rat race and worry about trying to plant something you can feed your kid with in 6 months. That'd be my biggest suggestion. That, and stock up on ammo, and call every fucking politician who's proposing anti-gun legislation. Call their office all day. You got nothing else going on.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it, even if you don't call, it doesn't matter what law you pass. I'm not giving up my guns.
Yeah, come and take it,
Pride for my cold dead hands, motherfucker. I'm
Come and take it, man. You can have all the bullets you want. I'll trade you a 5.56 for my freedom. How about that?
Yep.
Well, all right, brother. I got to get running. I got to do some more dadding.
Okay, so I would tell people to go follow you, but you don't even exist on social media. You're a fucking ghost. So just wave and say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. And when I get the chance to check in again with you, I will.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, buddy. Kick ass on the show, man. I love it. I'm following you, and everyone you can reach out to them.
Awesome. I'll talk
All
to
right,
you later, bud.